Sahana Vavadu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryan Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Vyasa's son Sukha requests Vyasa to teach what is renunciation. I know Vyasa, the one who has compiled the 4 Vedas, the one who gave out this Brahma Sutras, and he is the one who has written these 18 Puranas, and he is the one who authored this Mahabharata. A man of vast buddhi. Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhi. He said. Has a Vishala Buddhi. And Sukha is known as Sukha Brahma. He is born realized. So there is nothing that he doesn't know, as it were. But still he asks a very interesting question to his father, Vyasa. Okay, teach me what is renunciation. I wanted to know. To which Vyasa says, I am not the right person to answer that question. You should go and learn that from Janaka, the king of Videha. A very interesting country name itself is Videha. It seems that no one in this country has body conscious. Videha means those who are not having. You can imagine, if subjects are like that, you can imagine the king's stand. And Sukha is not arguing with Vyasa, but he is wondering internally, what is it that my father can't teach? Janaka is going to teach. Anyway, now that my father had said I have to go, he says, okay, I will go. I'll go and see. And he goes to the palace. And he has an idea of a sannyasi, renunciate. So he had a very, I don't know what idea he had, but he had some idea. And when he went there was a dance performance happening. And Janaka was sitting in midst there and enjoying in that opulence, that joy, tremendous, jubilee there. Celebration going on, and he is participating, he is enjoying all that. And Sukha saw Janaka and he concluded, I think my father is a better person. This man seems to be far more intelligent than myself. I am better than him. So he says, why unnecessarily go and disturb this fellow? There is no point. So let me go back. And he turned his back and he started walking back. Janaka saw that from there. And he immediately called that boy. He said, what is it? You had come all the way, right? From a big distance you have come. Obviously, you don't just come to see me. Yeah. I just passing by this side, so I thought I'll just drop in and see you and say, hi, buddy. That's not the way they come. Obviously, it means, there's something you have in your mind. Ask. And Sukha was feeling so uncomfortable to ask this question, can you teach me renunciation? Because, you got to remember, Sukha is coming from the backdrop. He is a Rishi Kumara. Vyasa is a Rishi. So he is Rishi's son. And what is it this king is going to teach me in terms of renunciation? Yes, he is feeling so uncomfortable. He said, yeah, it's okay. I just wanted to ask, something to my father. I'm a little doubtful about things, so I just came. He was hesitating to complete the sentence, saying, I came to ask you as directed by my father. Janaka looked at him and said, okay, I know what your father sent me. He has sent you to me. And you have missed the whole point. He says, you've missed the whole thing. That entire teaching that you find is what this paragraph is all about. Page number 228, second paragraph. He says, this is the entire conversation. This is the teaching of Janaka to Sukha. That's why we say this one book is enough to Vedanta. You don't need any other textbook. This one book provides you all the essential. Only thing is the story is not there. We just give you to make it interesting, along with the story in the class. That's about it. But the message is this. You missed the whole point, boy, he says. You saw the external things, but you missed something very, very essential. You saw all these things. Did you realize, did you notice one thing? To which Sukha said, what? Did you notice the sword that is hanging above my head? Did you notice that? Only then Sukha turns around and looks. He says, yeah. How is it hanging? With the hair. It's tied to the human hair. Not my hair. No. Long hair. A single, hair. It is hanging. Any time by the weight of the sword, it can get cut and fall. If it falls straight, it will go to Janaka's head. Did you notice that? He said. So I said, that I didn't notice. He said, there lies renunciation, man. You see you miss the point completely. It has got nothing to do with the possessions piece. It's got nothing to do all this. It is to do with what? It is to do with the inner abstraction, that inner understanding. Has no attraction for worldly possession and enjoyment. Name, fame mean nothing to him. Wealth and power do not lure him. He does not get enmeshed in family affairs. He understands the ephemeral nature of all the world offers. If he needs to possess or contact them, he does so with the inner abstraction. Now, this is where, there is a loophole for all of us. Correct, sir? If it need be, no. Correct. Now we all say what? All that we possess, all that we contact, we will immediately categorize into what? If need be, you can possess and contact, he says. No. Therefore, what are we supposed to do now? All that I possess, all that I contact, all that is needed by me. That's all. This is where, the mind tricks. Any learning is what I was referring to in the last class as Vakra Buddhi. Perverted thinking. Not literally that perversion like we understand as perversion, bending. Everything is twisted and turned to just justify whatever we are doing. Right now, all that I need is what I possess. Everyone believes that. Everyone thinks whatever they possess is what they need. My need is a double bedroom house. Therefore, I am possessing. Another fellow says, I need 27 floors. Therefore, he is possessing it. But I will call that man as what? I'll call that person to be greedy. You see, but I am not greedy. Why? I am possessing only what I needed. That's exactly what the book also says. If needs to possess or contact, he contacts. But we miss the second part. Like Mullah, you know, he came, dead drunk. The Maulavi called him and said, hey, you're a Muslim, how can you drink? It is prohibited, no? To which Mullah asked him, do you mean to say that you follow 100% of all that is said in Quran? To which Mullah said, no, I can only follow whatever extent I can follow. Immediately, Mullah replied, that's exactly what I'm also doing. What does Quran say? Drink. You will be doomed to hell. I'm following the first part. It says drink, no? So I started drinking. Second part, we'll see later. Similarly, we read that first part of the sentence. If need to possess, correct. All that I possess is needed by me. No matter what the quantum is. You see, that's where we get lost. That is where Janaka is telling Sukha. He said, you missed the whole point, my child. He says, you didn't understand what? The sword that is hanging. That you missed. Everything you saw here, all this you saw, you missed that essential point. Now it's all external, dramatized. Don't think literally, actually there is a sword hanging. It's just a drama. That's about it. The point is that understanding what? It is ephemeral. He has that understanding. All that I possess is ephemeral, transient, fleeting. And that is really scary, to understand all that you possess as fleeting, ephemeral, transient. You see, it's so difficult for us to conceive. In the class setup, we all will talk. There's no problem at all. In the, lecture. In the class, we can say, yeah, correct. Sir, it's all ephemeral. It's all passing. Nothing is permanent. Everything is impermanent in the world. All this. But when it comes to my possessions, what I possess, what I preserve, what I keep, what I acquire, what I had worked for in my life, and I pass it on to my children. All that you do in life is what? Your whole life is only one thing. What is it? What is it? Study, take a job, earn, acquire, and then what do you do? Pass it on that to the child. And you believe you have done some great service to your child. You have done something. Now imagine you understand what you are passing on is ephemeral, transient, fleeting. How will you pass it on to them? This is what we should understand here. When he says it is all ephemeral, yeah, correct, sir. Life is ephemeral, passing, transient. We also say, but do we really understand? If you really understand, now what will you do now? I'm not saying immediately, don't give anything to your children and all your kids will fight against me. They'll file a case on me. That is one reason I told my daughter, you want to do law? I said, please. Otherwise, for the way that we go, another few years down the line, there will be about 25 cases on us. I can't be pay lawyer fee. I said, you can fight for me. Not that you should not pass on, please. But imagine if you understand the wealth that you have acquired and you are passing it on to be temporary. What is the feeling you get when you pass it on? When you are not passing it on, what you feeling you get? You feel as though you have not done anything to your child, is it not? Imagine you have not given anything to the child, right? That is why at least we take this LIC policy, life insurance. They were, my earning low, nothing I can get. At least if I go, you will get something. I'm still not saying you should not do all those things, but when you are doing it with what understanding you are doing it, you believe that is going to be with them, you believe that is going to be protecting them. Why do you do that? You feel great, no? When you give. I've seen people who write, the will, and they feel as though they have done something extraordinary. They come and tell me also, this I have given. And one thing, no, none of them told me what they have given, added my name also in that or not. My name is there, is it? It's like, you go for a marriage, and after 2 3 months you go to that house, they give you marriage album. You say we never go to the house, where they had recently marriage or first time they come back from abroad. A person goes abroad and comes back first time. Don't go to their house for 1 year. See, because earlier we used to have that Konica Kotak camera, orchard cameras. You got to take a film, click it, develop it, and then take a print of that photograph, and half of it will not come properly. So you delete all those things. You will have some small album. Now they have this digital camera, and they take pictures left, right, center. They see some building. We don't even know what that building is. Who cares? This is the building. This is Trump building. So what? They say, this is this building. They go to this downtown, in New York. They take pictures of this one from this angle, that statue of Liberty from that angle and this angle. You'll get about 250 pictures. Same way, wedding album. Which is the first picture you will see when they give to a wedding album where you have been? You will search for that group photograph. Is it there? Or your picture, isn't it? If you are not there, it's boring. If your picture is there, it is interesting. Otherwise, it is boring for us. Similarly, I have written will. Why? Because you believe that to be something permanent. The moment you understand it is impermanent, then what happens? You are giving something to your child which is impermanent. What pride you will get in passing that to them? How can you feel happy about it? How can you feel great about it? As though you feel, they had to be secured. Opposite of that is what he's referring to as the inner abstraction. So it is not that you should not possess. Remember, it's not that you should not contact. If need be, needed for what is the question now? It is needed. It is needed for what? That is the basic question. Needed for? Needed to fulfill your obligations, it is correct. When it is not needed for your obligations, you see, then it is not necessary at all. fulfillment of your obligations, you need to do that. Now we develop that need based on our desires. Our desires makes it to feel as though it is needed by me. We say, why do you acquire things? It's not that Vedanta says it is wrong to acquire. No, that's not the stand of Vedanta. It says you can acquire, you can possess, you can enjoy. There's no problem. You can contact. There's no problem. You can enjoy. There's no problem. But the point is, you don't acquire with the feeling of incompleteness without it. Without it, I feel missing. Without it, I feel lost. Without it, I feel low, valueless, worthless, void, incompleteness. Without it, I feel. Then I go about acquiring. Versus, I acquire it towards the fulfillment of my obligations. Then you have to go back. Now don't ask me the question, sir, how am I to know what is my obligation? Because today your desires are taking the form of obligations now. Now what is your obligation? You have only one business, the highest value of life. Obligations, all this means the same thing. Values, obligations is all same, one and the same thing, remember. Ideal, values, obligations, all this mean the same thing, the goal that you have for life keeps evolving, keeps growing. As you grow, your values grows along with you. Along with you, the value grows. The highest value being the value of self-realization. So, to acquire things so that it will assist me in my effort to realize the self. This is only for my realization and establish a proper connection between the two. I need it. Why I need it? I need this. Nothing wrong in needing it. I need this. Like we saw in the last class, that olive tree. The hermits needed that olive oil for the midnight lamp. Why they needed the lamp? For the prayer. So if I have to pray, if I have to study, in our context, we'll say prayer means study. For prayer, we don't understand. In our understanding of prayer is very different. You close your eyes and sit. For that, why do you need lamp? Why do you need a lamp for you to pray? No. When they say prayer, what they mean is for their study. If they have to study, they need light. For that light, what is needed? Oil is needed. Therefore, they went about to get that olive tree. So from the tree, you can extract that, take out that oil from from olives, and then from that olives you extract oil and use that oil for this. There is a clear connection being made. Similarly, when you say that I'm going to acquire a car, now in what way that you are going to establish a link between getting that car with the goal? That connection should be there. Only then it becomes obligation. Because obligation is defined as a stepping stone towards your goal. That's called obligation. That which takes you closer to your goal is called obligation. Now you build a house, you get a car, you get the name, you get fame, you get knowledge, you get this, no matter what it is, including knowledge also. Okay. In what way this class gaining knowledge on Vedanta is going to help you to move towards your goal in life? I don't have any goal in life. Nah? There is no difference between you and others. This is just an entertainment. That's about it. One fellow gets entertained listening to music. One fellow gets entertained watching a movie. You get entertained by listening to a lecture. That's all. All this is only done for entertainment. No, this is done for education. Then this education towards, and that's what he means. This renunciation. One takes the supreme stance in life when one sets the right value for the world, considers object and being, action and perception, emotion and thought to be ephemeral, transient. Renunciation is the insignia of spiritual growth, emanating from knowledge of the eternal self. A spiritually evolved person commands a true spirit of renunciation. He runs his family with love and affection, possesses property, enjoys the senses. While he goes through these experiences, his mind remains anchored in the Supreme Self within. With the mind rooted in the Self, he understands the futility of the world, feels the inner dispassion towards the events and experiences of mundane existence. Few in the world today have a proper understanding of this magnificent stand of renunciation. The ignoramuses finch this illustrious state of being by their outward practices. They live in seclusion, discard property and possession, avoid sense contact, put on an act of celibacy. With all that, their minds entertain material and sensual thoughts. They still harbor mundane values. Their appraisal of the world remains high. Such impersonators are far removed from the state of renunciation. True renunciation, therefore, is that capacity in you to set the right value for all that the world offers, to consider them ephemeral and inconsequential, even while you may be amidst them, perhaps enjoying them. This is the definition of renunciation. If possible, get it by heart. Therefore, renunciation, true renunciation, is that capacity in you to set the right value. So, renunciation means three things, he says, essentially. It means right value, number one. Number two, setting the right value, one. Two, renunciation is an understanding that all that the world gives as ephemeral. Two. Three, inconsequential. Everything in the world is inconsequential. Now, these three things put together is called renunciation. It has got nothing to do with you are possessing it, you are not possessing it. It doesn't make any difference. So, what is true renunciation? Sir? It says that ability to set the right values. Now, what is the meaning of here when he says values, he's not talking about ethics, morality, because we use that word values for ethics also, morality also. Now, he's not talking about it. See, what he's referring to is the importance that you are giving to it. The value means the idea that how much it is valuable to you, how much you feel, how much you get attracted towards it, how intensely you feel the need of it, and on what basis you feel it is a need is called the values. So, value, when we say, for example, you value money. Why? How do you know? Because you understand the power of it, the utility of that. How did you develop it? When you were a child, you had a desire to eat a chocolate. You asked your mother, I want a chocolate. Mother takes a child to the grocery shop or a food thing. There you see a chocolate. And you say, I want the chocolate. When you say that I wanted the chocolate, the child sees that mother opens her purse, takes out a paper and gives that, and the shopkeeper takes the paper. In return, he gives a chocolate. Then after that, one day you go with your father, you say that I want the toy. The father says, okay, beta, come. He takes you to the shop and he gives that same paper, gives that paper, and the toy is given. So, what does a child understand now? I have to ask my father, I have to ask my mother to get that toy or chocolate or whatever I wanted, the dress, this, all that I wanted, I can exchange if I possess that. If I have that papers in my hands, in my control, I can buy chocolate anytime I want, I can buy ice cream anytime I want, I can do whatever I want. That is the power of that paper, that special paper, which is called money. That is a currency. To an infant, you go and give currency, it will not. That's why when newborn baby, 1 year and all, they come, they give a paper. First thing, grandmother will do is take it out. Because the child will not understand, it will tear it. Or it will tear it to two pieces, and it will throw and go away. Grandmother will get annoyed. You see. Why? Because the child has not understood the value of that paper. So what is a value? Which one you give value? You will give value to something that has a utility in your life. Correct? Anything that has a utility, you will give a value. If this class has a utility in your life, you will give value to the class. The moment the class is not having a value to your life, what you will do? Reject it. It is as simple as that. So all that we understand value is anything that has a utility. Utilitarian. Transactional. This should give me that. So I am running behind the world to possess things, to acquire things. Why I am running towards that world is because I believe it has a utility. Right? Now, that assigning that utility to this particular one is what is called value. That is a subjective addition from our side. It is not inherent in the object. Remember, it's not inherent. That is why today, if you bring that 500 rupee note, 1,000 rupee note, 500 also we have now in the market. Imagine a fellow brings 1,000 rupee note, one full bundle, and says, I'm going to give you this as advance. First thing you do is what? Call the police and why? You are not allowed to possess more than 4 notes or something like that now, I think. If you are holding more than 4 old notes, you can be arrested. Now that note has become what now? No value, isn't it? There's no value to it. There is no inherent value to those things. Remember, it has a value. Everything in the world has some value. You can't say there is zero value to everything in the world. It has some value. But then what happens is we add something to that. Beyond that objective value of the worldly things, we add a subjective addition to it. That subjective addition that I have given to it is what is referred here as values. Apart from that objective utility, everything has a utility. As far as a car is concerned, what is a car? It takes you from point A to point B at a relative speed with little more safety than a two-wheeler. It is slightly more safer to travel by car than a two-wheeler. It's slightly more comfortable than two-wheeler. Is there any objection in that? No. This is same. You will not get wet. You will not get this. But the comfort, the maneuverability that you can get from the two-wheeler, you will not have in the four-wheeler. Then I will say cycle has a much better maneuverability. Right? No problem of petrol price and all that. One fellow says, petrol price has increased. What is my problem? Anyway, I'll put only for 50 rupees. Says. And this fellow says, I go by cycle. What is the problem then? No petrol price. See, there are certain advantages. There are certain disadvantages with everything that we have. But then we say what? No. I want Mercedes-Benz. I don't want, Tata Indica. I don't drive. Tata Indica, no. Jaguar maybe will take. That's also Tata's only. Jaguar may take, but not this. Why? Because it has some. See, you add something more to that. There is a value for the ring. But the moment I add a value to it, suddenly it becomes what? Suddenly that hair clip of my beloved becomes a treasure for that lover. Not for others. For others, what is it? There are fellows, who collect that ice cream cup. She had eaten, hairband. They collect. They collect these things and all useless. Whatever she throws, he'll go on collecting and saying that is so valuable for him. There is a value for ice cream cup. You can't say there is zero value for it. It's a value. But then on that, I add something. You see, that additional, if I take it off, that is called renunciation. Whether you have that or not is not the point. You see, there is no subjective value addition to the objects of the world. So that's the first thing he says. Set the right value for all that the world offers. What is setting right value? Don't say immediately it has no value. Zero value, sir. World has zero value. No, no. That's not that is not renunciation. That is ignorance. That is not true. Then he says, then you also understand what? To consider them ephemeral, passing, and great value for it. There's no meaning to it. Now, when you are not having values, alone remember, renunciation is the foundation. Remember this. For all positive emotions, genuine feeling. If you are not having renunciation, without the spirit of renunciation, if a person were to be presenting himself to be genuine, sincere, that's called hypocrisy. They appear to be genuine. Like in the management, sales, this one they teach, show interest in your customer. Why? To sell the product. He is not interested in you. No salesman is interested in you, remember. They'll talk. All these insurance fellows will come and speak to you as though they are so worried about your life, your family. You tell him, you listen to all that and then tell that fellow, I don't want. I did it twice here. The fellow called, he said, we want to meet you. Nobody's coming here. This I'm talking about 2 years back. Now not allowed. I'm saying 2 years back. Who will come? No visitors. Only for my house there's no visitors here. So I said, someone should come, not our house also. So two insurance fellows, they said, we wanted to meet you, sir. Can we come and meet you and explain the product? Product. We will send our manager will come, and a manager, salesman only. That's all. Manager, assistant manager, those two fellows came. And then as they came and they explained the projects, this, that, everything. And then finally asked the question, sir, what's your annual income? I asked him, how much you want? He didn't understand. He said, no, I'm asking, sir, what is your annual income? How much you want? I said. No, just for, calculation purpose, we want, put something. I said, doesn't matter. Then I told him, what is your annual income? No, sir, I just wanted to know what's your income. I said, zero. No income. And he looked at the house. He looked at me. He said, fraud this fellow must be, How do you, he's living here and he's doing all this and says zero income. Something is not correct. 45 minutes, nicely they talk and they genuinely believed, I'm going to take at least 3 policies, like that. And then I say, let me think about it and get back to you. But right now, I don't have money with me to make any investment and all those things. No, insurance is, is a must for your family, sir. I said, that is only when the family considers you an asset. If my family is considering me a liability, pain, sir, carrying you is a burden, My father said, I had 2 sons. I thought so good. Both the fellows have become burden for me, not for me to carry. Like that. How long am I to carry you fellows? Dad, 60 வயசு வரைக்கும் take care of us. I said, up to 60 you take care of me. After that, no problems. Conviction is you won't survive more than that. Insurance fellow, so genuinely they're speaking. After they went out, I closed the door. And they were, standing out and they're waiting for the lift. And in my house, we have a camera. We can see outside. We can switch on. We can see what's happening outside from inside. I switched it on and standing there and watching those fellows. They're standing with each other, hitting their head. Useless fellow wasted our time, 45 minutes are wasted. He shows lot of interest. There's a tremendous appearance of genuinity. But truly, it is impossible to be genuine. Remember that. You see? But we all believe what? I'm so sincere, sir. Helping, Sharing, no sharing. You share a little and expect that as an investment to get in return. Everything that we do in life, accommodating, helping them, giving, charity, is that everything that we do in life is what? Without renunciation, it is impossible for you to have any positive emotion. That's impossible. That is why we say, like Oliver Goldsmith, and love is still an empty as sound modern fair one's chest, unknown on earth. Why it is unknown? Because there's no renunciation. Only a man of renunciation can afford to have this sincere feeling of identification. Otherwise, if you show identification, what is it? Affection, identification, all this is what? Pseudo. That's what he calls it as attachment. It's all just attachment. He says. So, what is the value you give? Next one you give is what is that understanding that you have everything that the world offers to you is ephemeral, passing. There's no permanency to it. Now you may say, well, let it be impermanent. No, so what? That impermanency means this. You will have that object. You will have that person next to you. But what you expected, what you have experienced from that is lost. Now the person standing next to you becomes a burden to you. See, that's why we want to have some distance. You say, leave me alone. A point would come where you say, leave me alone. I need my space. I need my space. Why do you say I need my space? Why is so much of fight in the house, family? There's a lot of fight in the families. What is all the fight? From where all this is coming? What is that state? The state is, I thought this is going to give me something. What is it is going to give me? I expected the joy that I am experiencing from that relationship to be permanent. It will be there forever. I get a house, I get a car, I think what? Once I get that car, my life is going to be what? After that, drive, maja. Then what happens? Petrol price increased. Rupee value decreased. Repair, accident, roads are not good. One rain comes, there are 15 potholes in the newly laid road. Just before the previous lockdown, they had put the road. After the lockdown, I'm going there, taking a U-turn and seeing that road. 2 holes there. I said, 2 months back only they put this road, right? They relight the whole thing. And now you go there, what is it? Hole. Every time I have to pass that side, in that car, what is it to me? What I believed that is going to give. What did I believe? I believed after this, that joy, that contentment, that satisfaction, that fulfillment that I'm going to derive is going to be permanent. Because of that only I had slogged to get that car. Isn't it? Suppose if someone would have told you, the day you get married, you will start hating your wife. and your wife will start hating you. What is the proof? No husband writes a poetry on wife. In all that lectures we go, who laughs maximum to the jokes on husband and wife? Hmm? Only married will laugh. I've tried that. In schools, I've given jokes on couples. There I say the joke, they don't even react actually for that. There it has to be what? Student and teacher. Student teacher jokes we give, there it is appreciated. Here, what is it? The moment you get there, there is no joy. Do you or will you be willing to pay that price for this? Will you say okay for it? If you understand it to be ephemeral. That's all renunciation is asking. That is all Vedanta is asking. Today, you are willing to pay the price. This much I'm willing to pay the price for the car, for the house, for the relationship, for name, for fame, for power, position, status, whatever you are pursuing. You are pursuing all that because what it is going to provide you in return is permanent. Imagine it is not going to be permanent. Permanent impermanency, we think what? Impermanent, it is impermanent, sir, but not immediately. In my life, it is going to be permanent. For how long, sir? Till my death, this house will be there. Why? It's registered in my name. That's not the point. The point is not, the point is the other way around. I remember a fellow here bought a house, built a house actually. It took about 3 years to build that house. Not because of lack of money. That much of planning, that much of work, so much of work and so much of this. Did all this. After a year, I go to his house. He is cursing himself. 60 by 40 site. He built 3 floors, ground floor, first floor, second floor. In his family, only 4 of them were living. 3 floors, 3-bedroom house that is. Ground floor, first floor, second floor. 60-40 site. No place is given for some gardening, this, that, nothing. Fully utilized. Yes, done. And you go in, elevation and this and that is. 1 year later, he was cursing himself. I don't know why I built it like this. Why I built it like this. Why I built it like this. And now that agitation had become so much to him. He has given that house for rent and he is living in some small house now. Like a matchbox. It's amazing to see. Imagine if he would have known this before building it. Right? This is where I'm going to land. With what enthusiasm, with what zeal he would have pursued to build that house. With that, you go ahead, acquire, possess, enjoy. Contact, enjoy. Doesn't matter. That is called renunciation. That is what he says. To consider them ephemeral. Second point. Third point he gives is another fascinating idea. Third one is, and inconsequential. Inconsequential in the sense, the presence of that object or absence of that object doesn't make any difference to my mental equanimity, mental equilibrium, mental well-being. Like you all must have heard the story. A man saw his house being in fire. The man was crying, "Ayo, it's burning, burning, ayo, ayo, ayo," he's saying. And that neighbor comes and tells him, "Hey, yesterday only I think your son has sold this house, he is telling me." What happened? To all the cry. Half an hour later, the son comes. He says, "Ayo, he's crying and coming. Ayo, ayo." Father says, "Hey, sold it. No, what is your problem now? Ayo, only agreement is done, not signed, registered. Advance kuda vaangala." Says, they're supposed to give advance next week. Only agreement we have put. That's all. You all in talking only, not in. You have put that. Now what happens to him again? Ayo, crying starts again. All this. This is called consequential. Inconsequential. Whether it is there or not will not make any difference. Of course, presence of it and absence of it will make a difference. Right? You can't say, "Oh, inconsequential," means whether there's internet is there or not will not make any difference. Of course, it makes a difference. I need to have a proper internet speed, internet bandwidth, internet connection for me to have this class going. If that is not there, what will happen to me? I can't do the class. Of course, we need that proper system. Of course, I need a proper camera. I need a proper thing for me to have this class. I need a lighting. I need this. I need the. There are so many things that is needed. Any one of them missing will have an impact on the class. That is not what we are talking about here. Presence of absence will definitely make a difference. But when he says inconsequential at what level? Where? Presence or absence doesn't make any difference. But it is so interesting to see in our life. After a point, we say, "What? I can't live without you." Say, why? You're a stranger. You're such a stranger, actually speaking. Suddenly, one day you met each other. And then you say, you go through some ritual, something you do, and say, "We are married." And then you are living together for some time. And then you say, "What now?" If you are not there, my life is empty. Without you, what will I do? Without you, how can I live? Without you, what is this? Presence of you and absence of you make a difference to my state of mind. Presence of that object, absence of that object makes a difference to the state of mind. Presence of name, absence of name. Presence of students and absence of students makes a difference to the teacher. No. Inconsequential. It doesn't mean immediately you take it as indifference. You see, it's not indifference, please. It's not immediately you say, "I don't care. I don't care whether you are there or not." The indifference. That is not what is referred here. You see, the state of being, where you say the presence or absence doesn't make anything. Inconsequential. Because indifference is you are indifferent towards something means you are thinking about it with your selfish, that the thinking of yours is getting justified. You use your thinking to justify your selfishness in that relationship. That's where you become, indifferent. I don't care. They're extreme examples we give. The son says, "I don't care how my parents are. I'm living a good life now." That's all. Finished. Where are your parents? They are in the old age home. That's all. Throw them there. Finished. I don't have to take care. I've seen that myself. Where uh, in Tamram, Santorium, just opposite our house is that TV hospital, where that inmates. I used to go there to for this Diwali or some festivals, and we go to those people to see them. I'm talking about in 91, 1981. Those days, hardly anyone had even telephone in the house properly. Very rare to find a house with a telephone also. So what these people do is they had brought this man and admitted him in the hospital. After that, they don't turn up at all. 2, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, they don't turn up, and the hospital also has no clue how to reach to them. And 2, 3 times, I have taken the address from them. This address of them they have given in the registration. They have given because it is a government hospital. We go to that place. In a place, I went there. That number is not there. That street is not there in that area. Another place, we go and see. They have vacated the house. They have moved out of the place, and the neighbors don't know where they had been to. Ask them, do you know where they had been? Says, they say, we don't know. But they have vacated the house. They have not given. And they don't turn back. This is called indifference. You are indifferent. That is unconcerned, inconsequential. I don't care. That is not what he refers. It is inconsequential to my mental well-being. The presence of it or absence of it. Presence of that object which I value. Now what you have to add is that all 3 points you have to merge together. You see, you have to fuse all three. You get a three-dimensional picture. If you take only one point, then you can miss the whole idea of renunciation. Remember, it's not just value. No. It's not just understanding it is ephemeral. No. It's not just being inconsequential to me. If you take only one aspect minus the other two, then it will amount to indifference. If you take only ephemeral, it will amount to pessimism. If you talk about only values, then it will amount to hypocrisy. Because it's easy for you to become hypocritical, saying, I don't have a value addition to that, sir. It's just there. That's all. Easy to say that. No. That is why he gives all the 3 points together. Remember, renunciation is the capacity to set the right value for all that the world offers. Not few things. Remember, no, we all of us, like with reference to that monopoly money, you have a right value. But not with reference to the currencies that you are having in your purse now. No. This money different, sir. That is different. There I have, here I have. There is no division. All that the world can offer, everything that the world can offer, you have set the right value to it. What is the right value? Right value means only objective value, no subjective value addition, no superimposing subjective things onto that. My desires. That's what it means. Subjective value means my desires. I don't superimpose my desires, means my imagination onto that object. That is called right value. Ephemeral. Understand that it is not going to be forever, meaning anytime it can tick off. That's what the meaning of it is. Now our point is, it is ephemeral, I know, but to sometime it will be there with me. No. Tomorrow morning it may not. Tomorrow morning also a long time, actually. Next moment it may not be there. It may be there. You may not be there. You may be there. It may be there. But The mental frame in which you are to contact and enjoy may go off. The capacity to that will tick off. So the object can move away, your mental state can move away, you yourself can move away, anything can happen. With that understanding, you go and contact it. Ephemeral. Easiest way to practice is sit for a movie and keep telling, I'm watching a movie, not to get involved. Just passing. Movie. Forget it. No. You will watch that movie. After 5 minutes, you will forget. Suddenly, interval. Popcorn. Till popcorn is getting over, you will remember this is that's why I keep having it. When you are watching a movie, I'll say popcorn you have. One you put in the mouth, one by one you should eat. Popcorn. Or else peanuts. That's why I like peanuts. One you take and put in your mouth. Till that finishes, you keep remembering what? Focus is not on the movie, focus is on the peanut. Peanuts, popcorn. That's a good spiritual exercise. You can convert watching a movie into a spiritual experience. No matter which movie, even Rajinikanth movie or art movie, doesn't make any difference. Any Telugu movie also will do good. Doesn't make any difference. You can convert it. Third one is the idea of inconsequential. Amazing quality. The fusion of the three, right value, understanding it is to be ephemeral and inconsequential, defines renunciation. Nothing else. See you in the next class. Thank you.